Thank you. I see fundraising in particular as sacred work. The way I define it, especially when I'm talking to people who are in that arena, and I'm sure some of you are, as the privilege of facilitating the reallocation of the world's financial resources away from fear and towards that which we love. The word philanthropy doesn't necessarily mean or isn't necessarily related to accumulation of wealth, but rather the word comes from love of humankind. The word philanthropy means love of humankind. And that love of humankind is available to everybody. Everybody has it. Everybody's a natural philanthropist when we give them an opportunity to realize that they are. We live in tremendous fear now. And fear is kind of in the air all the time. And there's a lot of fear around money. Most people that I deal with, and even some of our global billionaires, are terrified about money, constantly in anxiety, living in incredible suffering, even before the financial turndown. I've kind of made a little study of this, and I want to say that I've discovered something, at least it's a theory, it's my assertion, that the suffering around money, the suffering, the anxiety, the upsets, the experience of being wrong and bad around money that many, many, many people have, maybe nobody here, I can't imagine anybody here would have that, but the other people in the hotel and maybe across the street. That anxiety, that suffering really comes from the culture, and then we personalize it. We have a culture that is embedded in what I would call lies around money that keep getting perpetuated, that keep confusing people. And the lies we tell, and I'm complicit, and perhaps some of you are, about money, are not probably the things you're thinking of as I say that, but we kind of forget that we invented it. We invented money. We made it up. And the fact that we've forgotten we invented it is kind of central to what I want to explain to you about the lies we tell about money, because we've also forgotten that we give it its meaning. It has no meaning other than the meaning that we assign to it. So we assign it its meaning rather than it has meaning. Now, we're sort of enslaved by it now as a culture, as a global culture. We think it means kind of more than anything. And that meaning has been assigned to it by us. The world has made money more important than human life. And that's a lie. And there's nobody who doesn't know that. We've actually assigned money more meaning than human life. And you can tell by the way we behave. We will sell our soul for money. We will not talk to somebody for years over a money issue that says that relationship is less important than the money, or the money's more important than that relationship. The big lie we tell about money is the lie of scarcity. And I'm going to unpack that a little bit. And when I say the lie or condition of scarcity, I want to point to a phrase I'm going to use, and that is the unconscious, unexamined bed of assumptions that create lies in our relationship with money. I'm talking about a mindset, an unconscious, unexamined mindset, almost a lens that we've been looking through so long as a culture that we don't know it's there. Glasses we can't remember we put on, that have us look at life from the condition of scarcity. There's not enough money. There's not enough time. There's not enough sex. There's not enough hours in the day. There's not enough hours in the week. There's not enough weekends. There's not enough weekdays. There's not enough time at work. There's not enough time at home. I'm not tall enough. I'm not young enough. I don't have enough hair. Maybe I have too much hair. I need to thin it out. I don't have enough education. I don't have enough this. I don't have enough that. There's not enough. I don't have enough. We don't have enough. Siren song in a consumer culture that haunts people and makes them think there's not enough of anything. I call that the first toxic myth in a mindset of scarcity that's unhealthy for us, and at the root of some of the anxiety, upset, kind of confusion and suffering in the culture that's primarily around money, but also around pretty much everything else, including time. The second toxic myth in what I call the great lie of scarcity is more is better. More of anything, more of everything, no matter what, more is better. A kind of unconscious, unexamined, more is better mindset that doesn't question that in any way. And this is the unconscious, unexamined mindset that comes from living in the tyranny of a consumer culture that's constantly telling you you need to accumulate more of this or more of that because you're not enough until you acquire something else. And that more is better culture has really gotten a little bit out of control in my view and is driving us in directions that we do not want to go. So then the third, what I call the third toxic myth in the great lie of scarcity is that that's just the way that it is and there's nothing we can do about it. And that's the worst one because it kind of holds this whole scarcity mindset in place. This unconscious, unexamined mindset, there's not enough, more is better, and that's just the way that it is, and has us not question, most people, really the values with which they're living their life. We're doing so much more with so much less that we now live in a world that's clearly a world, and it will continue to be a world where there's enough for everyone, everywhere, to have a healthy and productive life. We live in a world of sufficiency. And sufficiency itself, I began to see, is a distinction from abundance. So sufficiency or enough is precise. It's having the universe meet you precisely with what you need. And, now I'm really going to throw a loop in this, it's not an amount of anything. It's a way of being, a way of living, a way of seeing the world, seeing the enoughness, the sufficiency, the fullness of life, and appreciating it, is a way of being. Abundance, I'll come back to in a moment, but in a mindset of scarcity, abundance turns into excess, and actually some of what goes into those landfills we're all worried about. Because you try to accumulate more than you need because you're afraid you don't have enough. So it could be called the flip side of scarcity in a scarcity, fear-based mentality. But when you shift the context or the paradigm to sufficiency or enough, you start to experience the power of love. And there's a principle of sufficiency that is this. When we actually let go of trying to get more or scrambling or grasping to try to get more of what we don't really need, which is what the culture of consumerism kind of brainwashes us to want more of, it frees up oceans of energy to turn and make a difference with what we have. When we make a difference with what we have, in the nourishment of that attention and intention, it expands. Another way of saying that's a little bit shorter is what you appreciate appreciates. What you appreciate appreciates. And in that context, money can flow, money can nourish, instead of leak or be something you're desperately trying to hold on to and not let go of, but rather it can flow like water to that which you love.